Until a few days ago, I was thinking, well, these solo appearances can happen quite naturally. He comes to London, he goes to Africa, she's got the young children at home, and then during his absence, she pops out on her own a couple of times, as it happens. But it does, and obviously the media is speculating a great deal as to whether there's more to it than that. And then just recently, obviously everything I hear is secondhand. I am picking up vibes and rumors from California that things are not actually very good between the two of them. And so it could well be that Prince Harry is trying to sort of turn himself into the old Prince Harry and do what he was very good at, which is like giving out awards instead of accepting them and talking about the issues that he likes talking about when he's on his own. Because when Meghan Markle is there, I always seem to find that he's, either spouting whatever she tells him to, or she's doing the talking. She leads the narrative. She, of course, was an actress, and so appearing in a red dress in front of one of those advertising screens and talking to celebrities and things is very much her world. So, who knows? Maybe they're both acting up to their own particular skills, but I wonder whether in a year or so, when we look back at this time, we won't think that this isn't the beginning of something quite serious. I think it's very possible that they're both trying to rebrand because they always have to do the latest thing and be up to speed. And of course, if Prince Harry becomes more how we used to know him, I would suggest that his brand value, if you call it that, goes up because that's what he's good at. And in the days when he was wearing fine uniforms and sitting in carriages and appearing on the Buckingham Palace balcony, he was a prince. When he's sort of stumbling off a plane with a woolly hat on and a backpack, who is he? So yeah, I think there's a little bit of that going on. And she too, of course, coming out to do these things that like on the sort of red carpet appearances, if you like, and so solo visits to organizations, talking to children and things. Yeah, I can see that. And so maybe that's what they're up to. But I just wonder whether there isn't something else going on as well behind the scenes. I hope not to be insinuating anything really, because it's none of my business. But I just, first of all, there was a lot of sort of what you might call media speculation, as inevitably there would be when he does a solo engagement or two and she does a solo engagement or two. You can see how that gives way to a lot of newsprint. But I know one or two people who live in the California area, and they're quite well placed, and they've been sort of hinting at some time that things may not be brilliant between the two of them. And I mean, I'm afraid that's sort of, I suppose, eventually likely to happen. The other question, of course, is would Prince Harry ever come home? And whereas I think the king has left the door wide open for him, I'm not sure that it would be a very good move to bring him back because everything he does attracts individual press attention, and therefore diverts from the main message of what the royal family are up to. So if he suddenly decided to come back and sort of resume doing royal engagements, I think it would be counterproductive. I don't think that anything she's doing at the moment is going to appeal to people in the UK very much. Obviously, I've been reading all the reports, and they talk about her wearing a red dress. Is this a sort of power statement, like Diana wearing a black dress? When she went to the Serpentine Gallery, way back, sort of establishing herself as a figure. I think that works better in America than it does over here. But I think it's always this awful sort of treadmill that they've got themselves into of having to continually reinvent themselves and keep themselves in the news. I mean, at the moment it works because here we are talking about them, but I don't know whether it'll work forever. I read somewhere that appearance in the red dress, that she didn't really even stay for the event. She just came along to be photographed and then left quite soon afterwards. Now, it could be, she's a mother with two children. Maybe she has to get home to read them a bedtime story or something. I mean, we must accept this as a possibility, but it does seem a bit strange. What else can they do? They've done their interviews, they've done their documentaries, he's written his book. It's all going to be appearances. And in America, everything public appearances and public events usually do revolve around some sort of charitable endeavor. That's certainly in New York. There are endless dinners and people buy tickets for them and things, and people turn up. And other than that, of course, you get those quasi-royal tours like the visit to Colombia, which again, you wonder why that happened. You wonder what that was to achieve, and probably it was more to for the benefit of Colombia. Usually, when somebody in a country like that invites a celebrity along or makes some big statement about becoming independent and things, the question you should ask yourself is, what else is going on in that country that they're diverting your attention from? She talked a lot at that event, didn't she, about her own personal journey and how she was attacked a lot on social media and things like that. That's well, I'm the wrong person. That's very California speak. There's a lot of that going on. I still, always go back to that original point, which is that as far as being members of the royal family are concerned, the royal family are usually working to help the United Kingdom and Commonwealth, not to help themselves. And that's always seems to me to be the problem with this particular couple. We talk about them because he's Prince Harry and he's doing, non-royal things or quasi-royal things, or, whatever he does seems to be of great interest to everybody. And she's promoting her causes too, because, as I've said before, they lead a very expensive lifestyle. They have that huge property, which is worth a lot of money, which I guess they have a mortgage on, or probably, and also security. So I read somewhere costs them like 2 million a year. And whenever you see him arriving at an airport, there's always a kind of couple of Range Rovers and lots of people around him. All this costs a lot of money and has to be supported. And that's how they do it. I mean, I dare say they've made a lot of money, and we were told the other day that he inherited some money at the age of 40 from the will of the Queen Mother. So maybe they do have plenty of money, but I think that's always going to be a problem. You can get through money very quickly if you live like that. It's very difficult to know exactly what's going on, but there does seem to be a trend, which doesn't look as though we're going to see them. They say in the papers and things, when statements have been made that they will be doing joint events together. Maybe they will. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Otherwise, it's not totally unusual that a couple pursue their own particular skills and interests, and they look to their skills, shall I say? Whereas she's best placed at a podium or on a platform, and he's probably better place doing the sort of royal engagements that he used to do. I mean, I remember seeing him out in the Caribbean, and he was so popular when he was working for the Commonwealth. He would play cricket with the kids or football with the kids. He'd kneel down and talk to them. He was always grinning and looking happy, and they loved him. They thought he was wonderful. That's what he's good at. And I think even though he says later that he didn't really enjoy it, he certainly looked as though he was enjoying it, as you do when you're putting something into life, and making a contribution. That's usually gives you quite a good feeling of satisfaction, other than, when you're exploiting a situation or taking things out of it or doing it all just for the money.